Hello, my fitties. I am here today with Michelle. I met her off of Instagram. I was really fascinated by her journey into bikini competition and then coming out of it through a reverse. So this is the first time that we're actually chatting in person. So it's going to be a little bit informal, but I do have a lot of questions that I actually wrote down and I'm so excited to get into. So thank you so much for hopping on, Michelle. I know that you're busy and I totally value your time. I value what you do. And I want to say a lot of fitness influencers wouldn't take the time to necessarily even communicate or get back in their DMs. And you did to me, which is something that I really appreciate. And I feel like you're a lot more down to earth that way. So I want to thank you for that.
Of course, no problem. No, I appreciate you reaching out. This is the kind of stuff I love, and this is the main reason why I'm in the industry and why I am so active on social media, specifically Instagram, because I think that's the whole point of it. Is like the best part of it is communicating with people who are just as passionate about your interests. So I figured I could tell you had genuine intentions too. So I was like, why not?
Thank you. So I don't know too much about you except you just came out of competition and you're doing reverse dieting right now. So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, where you came from, what was it like growing up?
So I'm from the Northern Virginia area, right outside DC, born and raised here. I actually grew up, I was pretty active my whole life, but I focused mostly in dance and gymnastics, and I actually got my bachelor's in dance at Florida State University. And then I moved to New York right after I graduated, and I kind of was trying to live that starving artist life, and that's how I stumbled into fitness. And there was a lot of stuff, with ballet, with major focus on staying skinny and body image. And so I was the athletic dancer my whole life, which is kind of code word for being overweight. So which was kind of always resonated with me. But once I got into fitness, it was kind of really eye-opening to see muscles on women was appreciated, and that's how I kind of got more interested in bodybuilding. So I started competing back in 2016, and once I got a taste of it, I was like, all right, I got to keep going. So but I actually never I won a couple shows, but I always struggled in the bikini division. I don't know if you're familiar with all the different divisions.
I hear bikini is the one where you have the most body fat percentage compared to the other ones. Am I right on that? It's like a softer look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and over the years, it's progressively getting getting harder. But they just added a new division called wellness this year, and
Oh. So was that below skinny? So sorry, not below. Below bikini?
so it's actually right in between bikini and figure. So
Interesting.
yeah,
So
so
it's leaner than bikini, but not as lean as figure?
yeah, so it actually it's about the same conditioning as bikini, but they want more muscle, especially in the lower body. So that was something that I actually was struggling in bikini, because I actually had a really good foundation of muscle due to all my years as a dancer. Mm-hmm. And so I was spending many of my years in bikini just trying to downsize my legs. I'm like,
isn't that kind of like genetics though?
It's just a combination of it all. So for me, it was just really hard. People don't realize getting rid of muscle is harder than it seems. So especially when you're trying to be really specific on which part of your body you're losing muscle. So that was something I was trying so hard to fit in that just the dimensions of bikini, but my critiques were coming off as too muscular. So once they added the wellness division, I was like, this is for me, this is perfect. So I competed in that, and so I did one regional show in Virginia, and I got first place. And then
nice. Whoa, congrats.
Thank you. So I had no expectations, especially with
which is great.
Yeah.
And that was the first time and you won.
Huh?
It was the first time competing and you won?
Oh, no, no. So I competed in 2016, 17, 18, and I took 2019 off. And then but this is the first time I competed in wellness. So,
Okay.
and then I
What,
competed in wellness.
sorry, what body fat percentage is it for bikini, wellness, and then figure?
I would say, I guess everyone's a little different, and I've never done like a DEXA scan or anything. I only have used like the InBody machine. And every time I go, like right before I get on stage, I think I'm like ranges between like 8 to 10% body fat. So I would say like that's the average. I would say most bikini competitors, percentage wise, is. But it's not also, it's also not about like how lean you are. It has to be like a balance of conditioning and muscularity.
Mm, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you grew up in BC, you said.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I have been wanting to go to British Columbia, back to Vancouver, just because I'm in Toronto, and honestly, when Toronto was on lockdown, it really just is a concrete jungle. There's nothing else, like nothing else
Oh,
that's happening. Yeah, I hear a lot of people are moving more to like nature-esque places. So people moving from LA to Colorado, for example, or from Toronto to BC. And
yeah,
yeah,
that's
then
something similar that's happening here in like the big cities. Like all my friends in New York City, they all just like moved back to like their hometowns temporarily because they couldn't do anything in New York.
dead. It's dead. And so is your family in BC and right now you're in New York?
So no, right now I'm actually at my mom's place. She lives like in the suburbs, like outside of DC, so it's nice and spacious out here. So
BC or DC?
DC, so like Virginia, like it's Virginia State.
Mhm.
So it's like 30 minutes outside of DC.
Okay, cool. So you mentioned studying dance. I think that's so admirable because if I could go back to when I was a little kid and just started ballet earlier or just any dance style, I totally would. I love the arts, and so I went to York University for my bachelor's in acting.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. So when I went in, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be an artist. I'm gonna be on billboards, and I'm gonna get an agent. And then I realized I love the craft, but I really don't like the industry. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. I had a very rude awakening moving to New York. Not saying that like, it wasn't anything that I expected, but I think at the time I moved there and was like trying to pursue a career in dance, I really saw like how limiting it was and like the money and like how like surviving was like just it wasn't realistic for me. So
Yeah, but now you also have a passion for fitness, which is great.
yeah, and I feel so grateful and blessed to like be able to like have more than one passion in life. So yeah, I'm just really grateful that I was able to find this.
So is that how you are doing your income right now?
Yeah, so so I started in like group fitness. I was teaching Zumba because
Uh,
so I started in group fitness, and then eventually that started piquing my interest talking to personal trainers, and so I studied for my NASM CPT, and then became a certified trainer in 2015, and I've been working as a trainer since.
okay, that's so good.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Were you always into fitness growing up, or only after you had your rude awakening?
Well, I think I've always been a huge advocate for movement, and I think like it just as a dancer, like I just crave movement. Like I just always knew from a young age, like I could never have like a 9 to 5 office job. So something like I'm just always grateful to be able to like move around and move my body. But I wouldn't say I was like a huge like fitness like gym rat. So I didn't really get introduced to weightlifting until I right after I graduated college, because I worked with like a trainer with my mom and my brother because my dad passed away from a heart attack back like right before I graduated. So that kind of like, yeah. So it kind of like, we kind of like, coped through like food and alcohol. And then I noticed that we were just really not taking care of ourselves. And so that's when we decided to hire a trainer to like kind of train us together, and we bonded over that.
That
And
was an awakening in itself. With the passing, it's like, oh, we got to take care of our health.
exactly. So that's when it really kind of like struck a chord with me, and I was like, no, like lifting weights. And then that's, there's like all these like conflicting, like, I had to unlearn a lot of things, like
Yeah,
as a
I'm actually curious about that. Can we talk a little bit about that? Because going into ballet, it's like slim. It's really like skinny, and some conditioning is what I hear. But to go to that, to like bulking and gaining more muscle, what was that like?
I mean, it was tough. I was trained classically, and in ballet. I was trained by a Vaganova trained Russian ballet teacher who would like make comments about our bodies and how, like, in order to be a successful dancer, we had to be like a twig. So, but that was just hard for me to like even just try, because like I knew I had a different body type from everyone else I was dancing with growing up. So,
You remind me
yeah.
of Misty Copingfield or something. You know Misty?
Oh, Missy Copeland, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like she's amazing.
Yeah, she's been like really transformed like the whole ballet world and the dance world in general when it comes to body like positivity and acceptance of all shapes. So, but that was even then like not like it wasn't really happening for me at that time. By the time I was in college, but yeah, so like just like worried that weights were gonna make me bulky, and like just like starve yourself. That's all you need to do to lose weight, and like do like 500 reps of like 10, like 5-pound weights. So then my trainer really like kind of like debunked all that for me, and like explaining to me at a scientific level and by practice. And like in that summer, I worked with him for like 2 months. I like lost like 10 pounds, and
Oh, wow.
my shape, and like I was seeing like more definition than I've ever seen before in my life. And I was like, whoa, I had like no clue. Like, and that's when it like made me realize I was like, I should have been doing this the whole time, like. So that's when it really like opened the curtain for me to like how amazing weight training and strength training is. So
Did you
and
go
I
directly from ballet into strength training?
hmm?
Did you go directly from ballet to strength training?
Yeah. So I mean, when I lived in New York, I would take classes here and there, but like I was starting to really just like really investing more of my time in strength training, and but I also love like hybrid training. So I'll do like powerlifting movements with like yoga-esque movements mixed with like body weight gymnastics training and like mobility work, and like my influences and knowledge from dance training too. So
Okay.
yeah.
How do you keep up with dance now, or do you? Do you miss
Uh,
ballet?
I was taking I was like trying to take some classes. There's not too much of a variety or opportunities of like adult classes around this area, not like in New York City. But I did find like a pole dancing studio.
Oh my God, do that. It's on my bucket list.
So
Why?
it's awesome. It's super hard. Like it's super athletic and like amazing. But unfortunately, like I was starting to take classes like right before the pandemic hit and like everything locked down. So I haven't been able to go back. But that's something like I've been just like open to trying. So I loved like trying new things. So.
In while you were a ballerina, did you see any? How did teachers navigate those that might have been dealing with an eating disorder, but still, and whereas the rest of the class would just be, I don't know, I guess dieting to maintain a physique.
Well, maybe I guess like in when I was younger, like in high school, I didn't really notice too many like eating disorders, but maybe disordered eating.
I think that's common.
Yeah. And then in college, I did notice like more eating disorders. Um, but I think teachers really just didn't get themselves involved. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
notice any faculty like getting involved with people's personal business. It was more, it took I think more like friends and like colleagues to like kind of take it upon themselves to like, you know, make sure their friends are doing okay. But I think it's just, I think we're all kind of in the same boat because we all can just empathize with each other because we just stare at each other. You stare at yourself in front of a mirror, like only in a leotard and tights, like all day. So
Okay, that's tough. I think
yeah.
it's really tough. I know that even when I was doing acting, it was always judging myself against how good other people were, and then judging my own performance based on how it sometimes looked and how the audience responded. So as an artist, navigating that and still being authentic to myself was quite challenging, I want to say.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, and like I think also that, you know, diversity comes into play with that too. Like being able to like, you know, stick out and like be your authentic self, but like always constantly feeling it like it's not enough because of like, you know, just who like the body you're in and the skin that you are. So that was something I think that was more of my concern because I was like with my body, you know, with my shape, there's nothing I could really do about it, but I was noticing with at least diversity wise, like um, I was really grateful in college that we had a really diverse program. So I think everyone's voice was able to be heard, and that was a really cool experience.
Yeah, that's good. I'm wondering, why did you choose to do bikini competition? Out of everything you could have gone to after dance, why do that?
Well, so growing up, I did dance competitions. So I don't know if you've heard the show Dance Moms.
Were you on Dance Moms?
Oh no, no, no! But
Oh,
my body was kind of like that. Like that's another reason why I couldn't watch the show. It was really triggering.
oh,
So yeah, like we did competition, so it was competition dance. So I think like what was appealing to me when I first heard about bodybuilding, well, my coach or my first trainer that trained my mom and my brother and I, he kind of like planted that seed. He's like, oh my God, if you just stayed a little bit longer, I can like prep you for your first bodybuilding show. And I remember like, I just stared at him and I was like, you're out of your mind. I would never give up food. Like I'm a
ah,
I'm a major foodie. Like I love food. My nickname in college was the garbage disposal. So like I just
during high school as you were a ballerina?
yeah, just because I was so active, like I was able to kind of just like offset
Get
everything.
away with it. Oh, okay.
But like in college, it was starting to catch up to me. But like
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, like it was just a completely different mindset. And so, but when I was becoming a personal trainer and I was learning so much, you know, and like trying to learn, you know, a little bit more about, you know, different modalities of training and techniques, and then eventually like nutrition, then I was like, what better way to like teach myself about nutrition that I can like relate back to my clients than doing a bodybuilding show. So, and then I think it was like one meeting we had with trainers, like in December, it was really cheesy, like write your New Year's resolutions. So I was like, oh, okay. So, like, and I just wrote down like, do my first bikini show. And as soon as I wrote it, I was like, I have to do it.
Mm, that's why mom's a paper girl.
Yeah, writing things down, and then we had to present like our list to everyone, and now I was like, okay, I told everyone at work, so now I gotta do it.
Well, that's good. Throughout your dancing career, have you ever dealt with disordered eating or crash dieting or negative body image? And if so, to what degree did you feel that was a personal distress?
um yes, I would say I don't know if I had like major disordered eating, because other than like stress eating. So it was just, you know, like that catch 22, like you're upset with your body. So, but the only way to cope with it is by eating. So I dealt with a lot of stress eating, and I still kind of struggle with that to this day.
Me too.
But
Join.
yeah, I think that's a lot of people. I know some people who just like don't want to eat when they're
It
stressed.
boggles my mind sometimes.
Yeah, I can't relate. I always want to eat. Because I think culturally too, like,
Yeah,
um,
I don't know about your family, but coming from my Asian background, we we have a thing where it's, I don't know if it's a pride thing, but we can't say I love you or I'm sorry. It's like we kind of do it out of like, if we're sorry, okay, then we kind of like help out through acts of service. Or if we say I love you, we show it through food. So we
Mm-hmm.
give the moon cakes, we give the dumplings, we give the mantou.
Yeah. Koreans. I'm raised by Korean immigrants, and yeah, it's all about food, and you can't say no to food.
Yeah, well,
Do
Korean
food.
food is delicious. I don't know.
I know it's amazing. So I mean, like no
Korea?
complaints.
Were you born here or were you born in Korea?
I was born here, and my parents both immigrated from South Korea when they were like in like middle school, so they were pretty Americanized. They're pretty Americanized, and they were like fluent in both languages by the time I was.
Okay, cool, cool. So it was always stress eating that you did.
Yeah, stress eating and like major like body like image issues and just like lack of like self confidence due to like my shape and like because like another cultural thing is that Koreans are very like abrasive and they will talk about you like relatives like and friends, they will talk about you like as if you're not in the room.
Yeah.
Like just like those indirect like comments like, oh, Michelle has like the like has like turkey legs and like she's like the biggest girl on stage. I mean, she's the best dancer, but she's like, she's
I know we can be very like frank, and I find that sometimes to be very insensitive, especially when you grow up in a Western culture. You don't know how somebody is going to take that. And for me, I made it a personal rule to never comment on anybody's appearance or their body unless I had something positive to say. So like, I love the shape of your eyes, or I love, how your lips are like such a nice shade of red or something like that. But I wouldn't even comment on uh, a neutral. Like I wouldn't even say something neutral because I don't know how they would take that.
exactly like even like commenting on someone's weight loss. Like I've learned like don't you
Yeah,
know
exactly. What if they don't want to lose? What if it was a terrible thing for them? Like you don't know.
didn't intend to lose weight. Maybe they're going through a really terrible time in their life, or maybe they are struggling with eating disorder. So like, so like that's why you just don't know. Like even if you ask, like I would ask like in a more like concerning way, like, hey, like,
How
how
are
do
you
you
feeling?
like? Yeah, how you feeling? Did you lose weight? Look what you did. Like, is that intentional?
Yeah,
So
exactly. I think coming from a place of curiosity is absolutely key when you're
mhm,
presenting anything.
yeah,
Because you never know what somebody is going through. It could be positive, it could be negative. Maybe they look like shit, but they're doing great, or
yeah.
the versa, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so and same thing with just like and it was never just about like just about weight. It was also about like, the shape of my eyes and like the shape of my nose. Like, my mom used to like, give me tapes to put on my eyes to create like the double lid, and
Oh my gosh.
about like, oh, you'll go to Korea and you can get whatever work done you want, and I'm like, do I want
Apparently,
to?
it's like buying for them getting plastic surgery at 16. Apparently, it's like for us getting a car at 16. It's like
Yeah.
really common.
Yeah, so that's like another layer of like major like body image like lack of self-confidence growing up. And so and I really strongly feel like I didn't like even in dance like I couldn't find any solace or anything that can like take me out of that. And so bodybuilding and getting into the fitness industry really kind of boosted my self-confidence in myself and realizing like, I'm enough and like, yeah, to each their own. If you want to get work done or you want to like, you have certain goals and
There's nothing wrong with like if you want to get it, then get it, right?
yeah, but I don't want to feel like I'm being pressured to, or
Do
like,
it because
like,
you want to, not because other people are telling you to.
yeah, exactly. So like a common operation for girls in bodybuilding is getting their breast implants,
Yes.
breast augmentations. And like one time I did get a comment from a judge saying like I should consider it. And I
Mm-hmm.
was what? I was like, did I say I wanted to get my boobs done? Did I ask you? Like, should I like? Did I ask for a recommendation? No. Like so, I tell people like you don't have to get girls especially who are interested in getting into competing, like they ask like, do you need to have breast implants to win or to be competitive? And I always say no. Like just do it if you want to get it done, but don't only do it just because you want to compete, you know.
I would also say be very educated, because I hear a lot of people who got breast implants, um, they start getting like health issues that don't even seem related.
Yeah,
Like,
implant illness is definitely a thing, and it totally makes complete sense to me. I had a friend that had it, actually multiple friends who've had it, and so they've got explants and they feel much better.
yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. Run us through the emotional and physical journey of your prep.
Of my prep, of this current prep.
The very last, or yeah, or like, no, you know what? The first time going through your prep, because it sounds like you really had to trust in your new coach. This whole like eat this and also lift weights. That's like totally against the ballet world, not what I've been taught.
Yeah. Well, I had a mentor and he was more of a strength and conditioning coach. He's like my best friend and he was my coworker at the time. And when I told him I wanted to get into competing, he was like, I'll help you. But he was but I also told him like I kind of want to self-teach myself. So I did basically the whole nutrition aspect of it completely on my own, and I taught myself like all of that. But he only really helped me with my programming structure. So because he's a strength and conditioning coach, he had like more of like a hybrid workout program for me. So I was still like keeping elements of like powerlifting and heavy lifting and just like, supplementing with cardio here and there. And then I just kind of taught myself how to like, measure all my food and like make sure I like cooked all my meals in time and make sure I packed them all up before like a long day at work. So that was like, I don't know, something just like flipped a switch in my head and I was just like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this right. But of course I still didn't do it right because I was weighing my food before I cooked it, so I was severely under eating.
Oh, okay. Are you supposed to weigh your food after you cook it?
Yeah, yeah. At least especially your meats because the meats like lose a lot of water when you're cooking. So like they just shrink. So I was definitely not getting enough protein. So actually my first prep it was like a 3-month prep and I got like super skinny, like scary skinny. Even my grandma, she came to my competition when she got like a first glimpse of me, she started crying because she was like, "You look sick." So I learned from then. So, but like emotionally, I think I just like, I've always like prided myself as a hard worker. So it was just something, it was just nice to like focus on something and look like I'm like working for something. Cause that's something that's like, I'm used to that structure, especially growing up as a competition dancer. And like it was just fun to like always like work your ass off all week, and then like leading up to show day, like you start like planning your tan and your bikini and your heels and like doing your makeup and hair. So it kind of helps me balance like those like my tomboyish like tendencies, but also but like flourish, yeah, show off my femininity on show day. So
That's amazing. Yeah, I can totally understand that, especially for high achievers. We always like having some sort of goal.
mm-hmm.
That's a very masculine energy, and I think there's a lot of great things about it.
Yeah, I know. I'm definitely like a goal-oriented person. Like I love the journey, don't get me wrong, but in the end, like I know like if I can focus on something, like there's no stopping me. So, and that's also like it gave me perspective of like who I really am as a person. I'm like, oh no, I can do this. Like I can do anything I like set my mind to. So,
What's the hardest part of prep?
hardest part of prep. I think prep isn't as hard in contrast to reverse dieting. I think the hardest part of prep is the reverse diet coming out of prep.
Talk a little bit more about that.
Um, well, because you start to like become like this, superhuman, like living in a body that you've never seen before, and like there's so much hype and excitement on show day and like finally showcasing all your hard work, and then coming out of that to like either like to come into an off season and start regaining weight and putting on muscle can be a huge like mental shift and adjustment. And I think a lot of people, including myself, can like struggle with that and like major body dysmorphia. Because like you think that you're just undoing all the hard work that you put in for the past like couple of months or so, but like you have to constantly remind yourself that you're actually now you have a new goal and you're supposed to gain weight. You're supposed to gain weight to, you know, regain some of the like, you know, the performance aspects of like, you know, in the gym and make sure you're like you can lift heavier and perform better. You have to gain weight to regulate your hormones again, especially as a woman, because it can take a toll. Like a lot of women lose their periods when they're strict dieting like that, and so you need to like re-regulate your hormones afterwards. So
During the reverse dieting process, as you are gaining weight, what are some of the things that you can tell, um, that you told yourself to mentally keep you sane?
to keep me mentally sane, I try to just reassure myself like this is bodybuilding is not, you know, as like a sprint. It's definitely a marathon. And if you want to see continuous progression in your physique, it takes a lot longer than just like a 3-month prep. Like all the bread and butter is in your off season when you're putting on more muscle in the areas that you want to put. And so, and the only way to do that efficiently is being in a calorie surplus. So you need to be eating. And I also constantly remind myself another issue with like reverse dieting is like the severe hunger. So because, you know, you're so low in body fat, you know, your leptin levels are really low. So there's not enough of that hormone to tell you like, you need to stop eating. Like I'll be like full after eating a meal, but I'll just still be like ravished, like
Yeah,
so
yeah.
hungry. You're like, I'm full. Like I literally can't eat anymore, but I still want to keep putting things in my mouth. And that's what can cause like severe like overeating because of that hormone imbalance.
Would you say that the reverse process in the diet is harder or easier compared to the last few weeks where you're really cutting down before the show day?
I think it's much harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the last couple weeks, it's kind of like mentally for me, it's like embrace the suck. Like you're so close. Like,
Mm, you're
you
so
know,
close to the finish line.
yeah, you're so close. You might as well just go all in, you know? It's like even when you work out, like you know you're on your last set. So you're like, might as well just go as hard
Yeah.
as you can, you know, just finish strong. So I think that's where my mindset is right before a show. So even though I'm like, you know, super delusional with all the water and like carb depletion and like not sleeping well and having hot sweats and just literally having no energy to even like, you know, say hello to people around the gym like I normally do, like because I'm just conserving as much energy as I can. Like I look like a crazy person, but you know what, like that's, you know, it's only gonna be temporary. So
So despite the reverse, you're able to eat a little bit more compared to that period. It seems like the mental aspect really got you through, and that's what made it easier.
yeah, and it takes practice too. Like my first prep reverse dieting out of a show, I remember like I went on like a cruise vacation trip with my girlfriends um 4 weeks after my last show, and I remember like feeling so horrible about myself because even though like I was sticking to my reverse diet, anytime I just like, you know, went off plan and like ate whatever I wanted, like I felt like crap. And I remember looking at those photos just recently and I was like, no, I looked fine, you know. And but now like yes, I've gained some weight, but like mentally I'm like very like I'm giving myself grace and I'm very happy with the way I look, and I don't have that like dysmorphic like image of myself, just because like, you know, I don't see as much definition as I did like as I saw like 3 weeks ago, because like now I know what like my brain and my emotions are like tricking me. So
What are some
taking
things that you can do to take your mind off of that or to make yourself feel better when you're having a really bad body image day?
um a really What do I do? I don't know. I just, again, I am one of those people. I'm pretty tough on myself. So I'm like, just embrace it. Like, feel what you feel, and just remember, like, your emotions aren't always facts. um I tell myself that a lot, especially like when I'm like PMSing and like starting my period, because I can get like that too. I'm like, oh, I'm like bloated, like this sucks, like I'm so fat, and I'm like, wait, no, like no, you're not fat. It's just water retention. It's just your hormones fluctuating. It's gonna be gone in like a couple of days. You'll be fine. And so I always tell myself, like, it's only like a moment, like it's gonna go away soon. So
Mm-hmm. I like your attitude. Like you approach the same attitude towards competing as towards bulking, and I think that's good. That's what's really getting you through.
yeah, because I know ultimately I want to go pro, and I'm like, if and I'm also a natural athlete, so I know
Mhm.
my journey is like a lot longer and tougher than most, with those specific goals. And so if I want to maintain my longevity in the sport, I need to have like the mental strength and capacity to get through it. So um, I think that requires a lot of soul searching and being honest with yourself, but also being nice to yourself.
Speaking of, being doing this on your own, who are your biggest support systems?
My biggest support system is definitely my friends and my community in the fitness industry, and like um, also other competitors I've met at shows. Um, like I have so many friends I've met all throughout the country, other bikini competitors, and we always like keep each other posted on what we're doing.
So good. And you guys understand okay, no carb day. Oh, I feel you. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that's another reason why I love show day, because you get to meet all these awesome people backstage, because you all are like literally like have gone through the exact same thing. So like you might as well just be friends and like create that camaraderie.
Do you guys literally eat like asparagus, chicken, and broccoli and white rice? Is that really the bodybuilder diet?
Uh, those are elements. I definitely have. I'm my body's kind of sensitive to carbs, so like I love sweet potato. I love my fats. I love my coconut oil and peanut butter. Yeah, I think you can. I add a lot of shrimp and scallops to my diet on prep. Yeah, I mean, it's not just like those four things. I think if you have a good coach and like understands your body, or like communicates to you when you think that something might not settle well with your body. Like I'm, for example, like I'm lactose intolerant, so I talk to my coach. I'm like, I can't do whey protein. Like I gotta do vegan protein because I bloat and like I don't feel good. So she's like, all right, cool. You don't need to like have whey protein or casein. It's fine. So having a coach that you can communicate and like talk about foods with, and they have a good understanding how foods work, then you're good to go. Then you probably can eat whatever you want.
Give us a tip for motivation.
Oh my god.
Your face.
um, just remembering your why. Uh,
Mm, I hear that a lot.
yeah. Like for example, on my phone, um, my background is my dad.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so he's here on my phone, and I haven't changed that for the past like 6 years. So he's always been my why, and like having a constant reminder of like why I do this and why I choose to do this, or to pursue this journey. Like we're always remembering your why is like essential, and especially in the times when you're like feeling the weak and most defeated.
So in one sentence, tell us your why.
My why. My why is, um, I want to make he. If my dad were to see me, I would love, I want to make sure that he would be happy and proud of me, and he'd be happy to see me happy. So,
I think he hears that, and I think he's really proud of you.
no, thank you. I hope so.
What is next for you?
What's next? So I'm actually thinking about doing a powerlifting competition.
Oh yeah, I think you briefly mentioned that.
Yeah, so that's always something that interested me, but it would never aligned up with my bikini goals when I was competing in bikini because I didn't need any more muscle. So, but now I'm in this new division. I have to grow into it, and so that was my last my feedback from my last competition was to like build my upper body and lower body, and I was like, all right, so what better way than powerlifting? So, I just I bought a program, so now I'm definitely gonna compete either like in December or January.
That's great. Are gyms open where you are?
Luckily, yes, they
Hmm.
are. So I'm back to like working basically full time at my gym and like working out there.
That's really good. So, what does a day in your life look like from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed now?
So I work basically starting at 5 a.m. with clients, and anytime I have a pocket of like an hour in between my early morning clients, I work out, do my cardio, and eat.
Is this
Uh,
in-person clients or online?
in person and online right now. So, and I usually finish up my personal training clients like around like 2 o'clock, and
Hmm.
then have like either I'll like if I want to have a long workout, I'll do it right after, and then actually work part time as a pharmacy technician. So uh, I do that a couple nights a week. So
So you wake up, you do your clients, and basically then you do your own workout, and it's basically clients and workout, and then the pharmacy thing the entire day.
yeah, pretty much. So I'm just like nonstop all day until like 8 p.m. and then
Wow.
yeah, on the weekends I take off. I try to like give myself some me time, and that's when I like meal prep and give myself some rest days. So
Mhm. What's a good guideline for slowly increasing your macros while on a reverse diet?
I would say if you're gonna slowly increase your macros, you got to also make sure it's. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry, client. Never not working. So what was the question again?
What's a good guideline for macro increasing?
Oh yeah, so I would say like you have to slowly start increasing your calories, but don't like it has to coincide with your training too. So if you're gonna start slowly adding more food and calories, you need to keep like what your training routine was like before competition the same, and
Mm.
that way you can allow those extra calories, and then once like your body starts like getting used to that, then you can taper down on the cardio and then start adding more foods, so that way your body doesn't just like gets completely shocked if you're just like eating more and then not training.
Is there a specific ratio that we should follow that is generally recommended as you are increasing calories?
I would say I don't know if there's like a specific number to go by, but I think just like listening to your body, like still doing check-ins, like looking at yourself in photos and checking your weight, seeing how you feel. If you're still really like ravenous, but you're like your weight is staying the same, and your training's like improving, then you can start upping the calories, like maybe like 100 calories.
Okay.
Um,
Protein, carbs, fats.
I would say like for women, you don't need to like change your protein if you're already eating sufficient amount of protein. And I usually the rule of thumb is 0.75 grams to 1 whole gram per pound you weigh. So always keeping your protein pretty steady, and just if you're gonna increase your carb intake, maybe add an extra like 50 grams per day, but don't like increase your fats. So fats and carbs need to be inversely related. So either increase your carbs and keep your fats the same, or increase your fats and keep your carbs the same.
Okay, that's what I hear as well. Just wanted to hear from you and see what your experience was.
Yeah, I definitely believe in that rule with relation fats to carbs.
If you had to choose, would you increase cardio or decrease your food amount?
Increase cardio because
You'd rather increase your cardio.
I literally was just telling my friend that yesterday. I was like,
Really? Okay.
I'd rather move around more and burn a extra few more calories because I don't really have any qualms with movement. Like I love being active. That's not an issue. It's more like I'd rather not sacrifice my foods
Mm.
because I love food.
At any point during your prep competition, did you do massages, physiotherapy, cupping, TM?
I should have, but I never did. That's something I definitely is like a area of improvement for myself. Is that definitely like doing that recovery work with massages, dry needling. I stretch and foam roll on a regular basis as part of my programming when it comes to in workout programming. But I think like taking the time and investing in like regular massages is like really helpful,
Yeah, not just physically,
especially.
but like emotionally too.
Yeah, totally. And decrease those stress levels because you're already stressed out enough.
Yeah, yeah. Do you supplement?
I do. I do like pre-workout in the morning before fasted. I drink vegan protein shakes. I take glutamine for recovery. I take fish oil and a multivitamin. And that's about it. I keep it pretty basic.
Do you do any fat burners?
Um, last 6 weeks of prep, I do, um, like or like just like one pill a day. But once I stop, when I finish competing, then I stop because there's no need.
What in your opinion, what are some of the safer ones?
The one that I've used GAT supplements. I forgot what it was called, but they're thermogenic, and I like that one. Has a lot of natural ingredients.
After taking those?
Sorry.
You feel the heat after taking those because they're
Oh,
thermogenic.
yeah, and then I took Project 80 Shreddable this season, and that one got me freaking like a furnace, and so that was pretty crazy. But I like the ingredients in that one too, and I never really felt like jittery or crazy because I'm also really sensitive to thermogenics too.
Mm-hmm.
And even pre-workout, like I take a non-stim pre-workout because I also drink a lot of coffee. So
Oh, and all the pumpkin spice stuff is out right now.
yeah, US loves their pumpkin stuff.
I think US is just really festive overall. Like the first, I mean, as soon as September comes, it's like pumpkin, pumpkin, everything. And then after that, as soon as Thanksgiving ends, everyone's about Christmas.
Mhm.
I'm not opposed to it. I love festivities. Yeah, it's just so exciting.
I know it's crazy. Everything's over the top here. That's
Season?
sorry.
You have a favorite season? Fall, spring, winter?
Fall is definitely my favorite season. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. So it's because nothing is like centered around gifts. It's just about like coming together and being with loved ones and food. So
Yeah.
it is
Um,
essential.
who are the five people closest to you right now?
Um, my mother, my boyfriend, my mom's boyfriend, and my coach and my friend Dana, who competed with me this year.
Aw, oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, she was a first-time competitor, so she like popped her cherry and competing, and now she's hooked too. So,
Do you still dance today?
what like improv at home? Luckily, my mom has a nice like studio space downstairs, so it's a nice space for like my home workouts and for me to dance whenever I feel I'm in the mood. So.
That's amazing. I'm coming up on the last few questions here. Do you have a message? What would your message be for the people out there that you're sharing your journey with?
Mm.
Like if you were to leave and just disappear, right, into the cosmos, into heaven, what would your last statement be? What would you like them to know?
I would say be unapologetically your authentic self.
I love it.
I don't like whatever you feel like someone or anyone else is trying to pressure you into being, like it's wrong because it's not you, and you shouldn't be ashamed of that. And as long as you have good intentions and you want to be a good person, there's nothing wrong with anything that you do. So, and everyone's beautiful.
Yes. Everyone has a beauty. Everyone has a beauty, whether or not they are able to recognize it in themselves or not.
Yeah, because I'm definitely like an optimist, and so I think everyone has good in them and like beauty inside them, and yeah, internal beauty is way more important than external beauty. So, which is ironic because I'm in bodybuilding, but I think
No,
to find
I get it.
yeah, to find my inner beauty, I had to go through externally. So,
Awesome. Where can we find you, Michelle?
you can just find me on Instagram at Chong Strong. I'm definitely gonna be um, building my website very soon for like personal training and virtual training very soon. And yeah, I think that's the only thing I use, Instagram. I'm pretty simple.
That's amazing. Do you have anything else you'd like to share today or ask me before we end today? It could be about anything and everything. It doesn't have to be just about
Are
body.
you competing?
I'm sorry?
Are you interested in competing?
You know what? I thought about it at one point. I also thought about running an ultra marathon at one point. So my head's just kind of all over the place right now. I have other priorities at the moment, and that would be just building myself as a content creator on YouTube and also my blog as a healthy um, diet and lifestyle expert and slash health coach as my personal practice. So that's something I'm more passionate about right now. And then sometime down the line, yeah, maybe I'll compete. I mean, I have a young face, so maybe even when I'm 30 something, I'll be able to like.
It's never too late. It's never too late to do anything. I'm going back to nursing school. Like,
Oh, no way!
I never thought I'd go back to school either. So yeah,
Wait,
it's never.
wow. Okay, I have been attracting a lot of nurses into my life lately. What area of specialization do you want to go into?
It's tough because like I think I have an interest in surgery, but
Cool.
also really,
Can nurses?
but I know.
Surgeon. Isn't a surgeon does surgery? Nurses kind of do the
Uh,
admin.
OR nurses, so they kind of help with like giving him the tools and prepping the patients and stuff. So like that kind of procedural work, or like, but I also really love like personable, like creating personable relationships. So, and children. So I might pediatrics is another one too.
Okay, okay. I can totally see you do that. How many more years do you have
That's
left?
the
Where
beauty
would
of
you go?
nursing.
Like, where would you go for school?
Uh, Probably. Well, I've applied. I'm just waiting to hear back. So Johns Hopkins, some schools in Chicago. We'll see.
Okay, so in the States.
Yeah,
What did you do in, oh yeah, you danced in Vancouver, right?
yeah. In Florida, actually.
Oh, you danced in Florida. What did you study in BC?
Oh, I wasn't DC,
Oh,
Washington.
BC. Oh, I thought you said BC all this time. I thought you said British Columbia all this time.
Sorry. No,
Okay.
back in the
So you
States.
go back. Huh.
Yeah. All right. I do have to get going.
Yeah,
So
I want to be mindful of your time. Thank you so much for jumping on. I find you to be really approachable to have conversations. I would love to chat with you sometime, like just,
this was great. I loved it.
yeah, and maybe you can ask me questions now, so it's kind of like fair.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll be totally down for that.
Awesome. We'll connect. We'll connect. All right. Thank you so much, Michelle. I acknowledge you for your work. I acknowledge you for your journey. I acknowledge you for, you know, even saying yes to chatting with me. So impromptu like this. Like, guys, my fitties, we have never chatted. This is like our first conversation, and you're in on it. I'm just looking forward to growing this more and more. And maybe one day when you come to Canada or I come to DC, we can be on each other's videos.
Yeah, that would be great. I love it.
We got a sweat on. We can dance. You got to show me some moves.
Yes.
I can't dance.
Got moves. Everyone's got moves.
Okay,
Yeah.
you teach me. You teach me.
And you teach me.
Okay, I will.
Awesome. All right. So thank you so much again, Linda. You take care.
You take care. Bye, Michelle. Namaste.
Namaste. Take care. Bye.